Hello, this is me, Campbell. I have two names, but I don't. I experiment with both of them. Yeah. What did I tell you? By the way, tell you this. Tell you. Okay, tell you this is that people that people that say they don't get political and they think that like being transphobic and homophobic and also all like misogynistic all these other things. Well, they're most likely, I'm tell you this by the way. If they're doing that stuff, people like that should be documented. So people like that get documented by people that don't don't want to deal with politics and their own political beliefs where they deal with that person. They'd probably say, "Well, hey, I don't want to deal with you." But actually, I know I'm not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you how you do. They're not going to document things you say and say, "Hey, like you're this jackass keeps like this jackass keeps doing the same thing over and over again," and make sure to document it. And if you like especially autism and stuff like ableist people like that like him like author Jonathan David or something like that like people like him they want most people would want to fire him if I mean I don't care if you say you're not political or you're not trying to be political but if you act if you're being political sorry, if you're being political, okay, if you're saying not being, you're probably being political, probably, because I mean, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or whatever, but if you're a Republican or a Democrat that I mean that can't realize to not be transphobic, not be homophobic, not be sexist, not do any of those other things, all of the above. If you can't do any of that stuff, you shouldn't really have a job. You shouldn't really have it. You shouldn't really have a job to be hired for because like people want people that actually are politically correct. And if you're just a person that, especially with a trans woman, like does stuff like that's kind of illegal to do because if you're just basically giving out hate speech, yeah, we have freedom of speech. We don't have free. You don't have freedom. You don't have free. You don't have freedom of speech of giving out hate. There's a difference of hate speech and freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is different from hate speech. Is not freedom of speech. It's a thing where you you basically lie and you tell people lies and stories. And you just wanna give out your opinions and stuff like that, but no one cares about your opinion. Like no one cares about your opinion about this stuff, about what you think about from your hate speech. Who gives a fuck about your opinion? And if you think it's not an opinion, like it is like it's just it is. You being a jackass and I think it's kind of funny. I mean, of course, I wouldn't mind buying his books. I wouldn't mind buying his books at all. I don't really care. Um, uh, but he, the guy acts like he's like he can run over other people by just being, just trying to sound intelligent with like words. So I think he knows how to use words, but he really does know how to use words when it comes to get, get out of politics and make sure that you don't offend anyone. This is why I like Matt Sorcerer more because Matt Sorcerer, at least he doesn't really talk about politics all the time. He doesn't involve in it. He's like he's very different from him. But like he doesn't. Of course, I don't agree with. Maybe I do agree with him. I do agree with like David that you have to use textbook. You have to use in lecture the textbooks you have in lecture and not use textbooks you don't have out of lecture. You can't do that. You have to have what was used in lecture, and he's right. But I don't know. It's just like it's really sucks how this guy thinks he's like just like it's just you have to realize like yeah you could spend your time a lot of time on him looking at his videos, you know, obsessing over him and stuff like that. But then you realize this guy is just a piece of dog shit person. Like he's like one of those guys, those mathematicians. And I'm not saying engineers like this. Engineers are just like him. There's engineers that's just like David too. And as the, you have to realize too is people like him. There's some that are like him, or people not like him. There's idiots like him that are just like just do stuff to do stuff. My dad, who's an engineer, like he talks to he says things that are politically incorrect sometimes, and he's liberal, but still he says stuff that's politically incorrect most sometimes, not all the time, but he can if he wanted to. When it comes to like trans woman or subs that like this guy's the same way, but he's worse. He's worse than my dad. Probably far worse, far less intelligent than he is. Like my dad's far more intelligent than this guy. Um, I like of course I know he's like everyone most engineers are and tech I'm gonna say most mathematicians or scientists are most likely idiots people stupid people they don't there's stuff they don't want to do. They're doing stuff the other people don't want to do and he's right and I thought yeah he had a good point yeah it's a lifestyle but it's still stuff people don't want to do. I don't want to do it because like I had so much work, and then also the other reason because of mechanical engineering has more depth and other things like it had more detail and implied physics, and so I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm so tired. I need coffee. Oh, should have more coffee. I don't know if I took no medicine today, but what else am I trying to say? Yeah, Skyrim's following the biggest, but I don't have Fallout 4. I don't know, but there's just let's see what am I trying to say. But yeah, you know, you might, you know, the guy has the persona. You may like his persona, but yeah, honestly, if you really think about it, like this guy is like really just like, you gotta be careful with. And other people, there's other people out there that can advocate for the same thing without being kind of like too, like being very edgy because like most people that are in the left are liberals. I'm not saying liberal you don't have to be leftist or liberal or conservative or whatever, but I mean you have to be a little bit of all of them and not be spineless. We're kind of like you have to realize like oh yeah like most these leftists like some not all of them but some of them are have integrity, some of them don't. And you have to, yeah, and it's true. Yeah, he's true. Yeah, some of them don't have. He's right that some of them don't have integrity. But that doesn't mean you should shit on all all the leftists that do that. Just shit on the leftists that do that. Some leftists wouldn't want to do that. Like it doesn't mean like that's all leftists. It doesn't mean label a leftist would actually steal a textbook and take information from people that like rob people's information. They wouldn't. Some people that would really wouldn't want to do that. And if you ever believe that, you're delusional. Because it's not all leftists are the same. All there's leftists that are different. Um, I mean, like especially like liberal. Uh, if you think about it, there's people out there that want to burn books because of gender studies, just because like, oh yeah, like you don't want to see these books. Most of these guys burn books that you know they didn't want to exist, so their kids wouldn't learn how to be learn if they find out if they're transgender or not. because if they had those books, they would figure out that they're transgender. Um, but oh, yeah, he's not perfect. He's kind of he's smart. But he's smart. He's a smart guy. But he's just kind of you gotta be careful with people you listen to. 'Cause he like I mean I've met people like him like that like just especially no, they're not engineers, scientists. Like, they're artists. They're kind of crazy. He's an art. This artist I saw this one artist. He was kind of crazy. Yeah, he how he laughs or I don't know how he is kind of I don't know. And I don't think he was on Hinge. It's kind of crazy. But I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna say.